Welcome back to Palestine Rights here in Depictions Media Radio. I'm your host, Michael Klaus. And, well, there was a ceasefire. Well, we hope that the ceasefire actually will be maintained. We're going to remain positive about this. In some of the words that J.D. Vance, which you're going to hear in a little bit, he said that the media, me included, they're already jumping on the fact that the ceasefire is over, that there were flare-ups as of Sunday, and which saw dozens of killed by Israeli strikes across the Strip. Of course, Israel was also claiming, according to the Globe and Mail, that the Hamas violated the ceasefire agreement and thus the beginning of strikes again. In the past couple of days since the United States arrived on the scene, J.D. Vance and other diplomats, it has calmed back down again. But as you already heard from a clip from Al Jazeera, as an expert is saying that there's reasons for all the tensions being there. There's a reasons why the Palestinian people or the Hamas, more specifically, still have tensions, and why there hasn't been a complete disarmament of the area, that it hasn't been completely demilitarized, and that there's still weapons in place in Gaza. The expert from Al Jazeera is saying that maybe that would be absolute suicide to completely disarm and then allow the Israeli forces to just completely overrun everything again. So what is actually happening? Is J.D. Vance and his team totally accurate that, hey, we have everything under control and that the occasional flare-up is going to happen? We just have to keep the general peace. There's a lot going on. There's also a lot of history. Again, we have to keep in mind that we're not just going to look back to the Zionist movement that actually got the United Nations to help form a Jewish state in Palestine called Israel. That it wasn't that originally, when this whole process started, that the Palestinian people were very warm and welcoming to their European brothers who had been through a massacre and a Holocaust that World War II had brought with them, with the Third Reich, trying to commit a genocide themselves and eliminate the European Jewish people. That the Palestinian people felt that it was their responsibility to help these people find a new home. And it was done through the United Nations. And it wasn't just that at that moment that Palestine had European Jewish people moving in. It had been a process over 100 years. To date, over 100 years of what is happening has been this cauldron of boiling hatred against groups of people. J.D. Vance is going to call the Hamas a terrorist group. And if you were to ask some of the people in the Arabic world, they would say that the Hamas are freedom fighters trying to take a stance against colonialism and Israel trying to settle areas that were agreed that should remain with the Palestinian people, and now they want to take it all back, and that they're using military force to do so. There's a lot of history that isn't going to be solved in just a couple of days, and that compounding that, we've just seen 2 years of intense fighting and mass destruction of the Gaza Strip. So we can't expect, as J.D. Vance is right, we can't expect this just to happen overnight and that there's just going to be peace. We can't expect that. But what we can expect is a fair shake for all those people who are involved. The Hamas, the Israeli people, and the innocent civilians that are caught between the two fighting factions. That part of the negotiations, maybe we should be recognizing the Hamas as a legitimate government and not a group of terrorists. That maybe they have a legitimate voice that should be heard in this area, and we need to stop negating them. Saying that in J.D. Vance's open statements, saying that you have the legitimate Israeli government and you have a terrorist group with civilians caught in the middle, delegitimizes the Hamas as a possible government faction. And maybe that's a mistake. So there are going to be pockets of fighting until everybody gets the word that the ceasefire is out there. And we can't just simply be hot-headed and jump to arms every time a gunshot goes off. These people have been fighting for 2 years and under very intense conditions. So we have to be patient and allow things to cool off. And they're only going to cool off slowly. There's not a lot that can be done to quicken the pace up, but a lot of patience needs to be given to both sides, with the Israeli forces and, of course, the Hamas. So why don't we start? And we're going to start now by listening to statements made in the United Nations press room, and then we'll hear some other statements and a press conference held by J.D. Vance and Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner.